which corresponded to the courtyard of the tabernacle. In it was the altar, built of unhewn stones. According to the Mishnah, it was 32 cubits 14.2 meters, 46.7 feet square at the base. Midah 3. 1 Josephus gives a high figure. The Jewish War, v. 225 v. 6. See altar post-exilic altars. The priests reached the altar by an inclined plane. A laver was also in use, according to the Mishnah. Midah 3. 6 Around this court also were various buildings. The temple building. As previously, the temple proper consisted primarily of 2 compartments, the Holy and the Most Holy. The floor of this building was 12 steps above the court of priests. Even as with Solomon's temple, chambers were built on the sides of this building, and there was an upper chamber. The entrance was closed by golden doors, each 55 cubits 24.5 meters, 80.2 feet high and 16 cubits 7.1 meters, 23.3 feet broad. The front of the building was wider than the back, having wings or shoulders that extended out 20 cubits 8.9 meters, 29.2 feet on each side. The inside of the Holy was 40 cubits 17.8 meters, 58.3 feet long and 20 cubits wide. In the Holy were the lampstand, the table of showbread, and the altar of incense. All of gold. The entrance to the Most Holy was a beautifully ornamented thick curtain, or veil. At the time of Jesus' death, this curtain was torn in two from top to bottom, exposing the Most Holy as containing no Ark of the Covenant. In place of the Ark was a stone slab upon which the high priest sprinkled the blood on the Day of Atonement. Mount 27. 51. Hope 6. 19. 10. 20 This room was 20 cubits long and 20 cubits wide. The Jews used the temple area as a citadel, or fortress. During the Roman siege of Jerusalem in 70 CE they themselves set fire to the colonnades, but a Roman soldier, contrary to the wishes of the Roman commander Titus, fired the temple itself, thereby fulfilling Jesus' words regarding the temple buildings. By no means will a stone be left here upon a stone and not be thrown. A notice from Jerusalem's temple courtyard wall Sirach warning Gentiles not to approach closer. Temple 1081 down. Mount 24. 2. The Jewish War, 6, 252-266 4, 5-7. 7, 3, 4I, 1. Jehovah's Great Spiritual Temple. The tabernacle constructed by Moses and the temples built by Solomon, Zerubbabel, and Herod were only typical, or pictorial. This was shown by the Apostle Paul when he wrote that the tabernacle, the basic features of which were included in the later temples, was a typical representation and a shadow of the heavenly things. Hajj 8. 1-5. See also 1 Chi 8. 27. Issa 66. 1. Acts 7. 48. 17. 24. The Christian Greek scriptures disclose the reality represented by the type. These scriptures show that the tabernacle and the temples built by Solomon, Zerubbabel, and Herod, along with their features, represented a greater, spiritual temple of Jehovah, the true tent, which Jehovah put up, and not man. Hajj 8. 2 is revealed by its various features, that spiritual temple is the arrangement for approaching Jehovah in worship on the basis of the propitiatory sacrifice of Jesus Christ. Hajj 9. 2-10, 23. The inspired letter to the Hebrews states that in this spiritual temple the Most Holy is heaven itself, the area where the person of God is. Hajj 9. 24 Since only the Most Holy is heaven itself, then the holy and the priestly courtyard, as well as their features, must pertain to things on earth, those things having to do with Jesus Christ during his ministry on earth and his followers who are partakers of the heavenly calling. Hajj 3. 1. The curtain was a barrier separating the holy from the most holy. In Jesus' case it represented his flesh, which he had to lay down in sacrifice, giving it up forever, to be able to enter heaven, the antitypical most holy. Hajj 10. 20 Anointed Christians must also pass the fleshly barrier that separates them from access to God's presence in heaven. Consistently, the holy represents their condition as spirit-begotten sons of God, with heavenly life in view, and they will attain to that heavenly reward when their fleshly bodies are laid aside in death. 1 Cor 15. 50. Heb 2. 10. While still in the antitypical holy, these who have been anointed with Holy Spirit and who serve as under priests with Christ are able to enjoy spiritual enlightenment, as from the lampstand, to eat spiritual food, as from the table of showbread, and to offer up prayer, praise, and service to God, as if presenting sweet-smelling incense at the golden altar of incense. The holy of the typical temple was screened off from the view of outsiders, and similarly, how a person knows that he is a spirit-begotten Son of God and what he experiences as such cannot be fully appreciated by those who are not. Re 14. 3. In the ancient temple courtyard was the altar for offering sacrifices. This foreshadowed God's provision, according to his will, for a perfect human sacrifice to ransom the offspring of Adam. Heb 10. 1-2.